Hey guys, Sophia here from Just Sophia, and today I am really excited for this video because I'm going to be doing 3 Dollar Tree DIYs, and I've never done a Dollar Tree DIY, so this should be interesting, but I can't wait, so let's get to the video. A few days ago, I was looking through Pottery Barn, and I was looking at the coasters, and I'm like, these are really expensive. Like, some are like $20 to $30, and I'm like, no one's going to pay that much for, like a coaster. So that's when I decided I could make my own coaster. So I headed over to Dollar Tree and decided to make a DIY nautical rope coaster. So I went to the Dollar Tree and I found one white foam poster board for actually only $1. And I tried to find a round object to trace. And then I found this plant, like the bottom of a plant, and I thought it was a perfect size for my coaster. So then I bought 2 things of nautical rope, which I would wrap around like in a spiral to make the coaster. And I bought 2 just in case it was going to run out, but actually I only ended up using half of the 1 thing of nautical rope. To wrap the rope around the circle to make the coaster, I took the beginning of the rope and I glued some extra glue on the outside of the circle and pressed extra hard, because the beginning and end of the rope is the most important part of the whole coaster, because if those come apart, the whole thing comes apart. And then I slowly just wrapped around the rope into a spiral while gluing it on until I got to the middle, and again I pressed, glued some extra glue on and pressed extra hard because I didn't want anything coming apart. So when I was done gluing the rope onto the circle and the glue was dry, I was ready to cut the poster board. I took the poster board and I cut it first into a square because then it would be easier to trim it. Now that I cut the poster board into a square, I could cut it into the shape of the coaster. And I even went along and trimmed around a little bit so pieces of poster board weren't sticking out. That's how you make a DIY nautical rope coaster. I think this DIY was a success and it was only $3, and it literally looks like it came from Pottery Barn. There are these terrariums on Pottery Barn, and they're like $50 to $70. So that's when I decided for my second DIY, I was going to make a DIY terrarium. So I bought 4 5x7 black picture frames at the Dollar Tree, which were $1 each. But they don't have to be 5x7. They could be any size. They just have to be the same size and color. And these frames are going to be the structure of the terrarium. I'm going to take each picture frame and I'm going to lift up the 4 tongs on the back and take off the back, the piece of paper, and the glass and set on the side. Then I took the picture frame and the piece of glass I set aside, and I took some super glue and put some glue in the corners and all around, and then fit the glass in so the glass wouldn't fall out. After I glued all the glass into the picture frames, it was now time to glue all the picture frames together. So what I was going to do is I was going to glue the picture frames into a square. So I took 1 picture frame and I placed it down, and then I glued 2 picture frames on each side of that using super glue, and I pressed extra hard to make sure the glue really stuck on. And then once that was dry, I took the last picture frame and I glued that on the top of the 2. Just to make sure the picture frames were secure, I took some painter's tape and I put on some on each corner, and I waited an hour for the glue to dry. Once the glue was dry, I took the painter's tape off. There were fingerprints all over the terrarium, so I just decided to take a wet cloth and just wipe it down just to get those fingerprints off. For the bottom of the terrarium, I bought 1 white poster board from Dollar Tree, which was again $1. And I just traced it to the size of the bottom of the terrarium and just cut it out. Then I glued the poster board onto the bottom of the terrarium with some super glue and waited 30 minutes to let the glue completely dry. So I bought some white tiny rocks from Dollar Tree, which are actually only $1. And you don't have to get these kinds. There's tons of different kinds of rocks at Dollar Tree, but I just chose these because I thought they were really pretty. So I just put them all around the terrarium by spreading them out. I also bought these fox succulent plants from Dollar Tree, and I wanted to pull off the actual succulent, so it's really easy. It should just pop right off. And I'm just going to lay around the succulents until I like how they look. Last but not least, I bought these little balls from Dollar Tree, and I just placed them around the terrarium, and I think it added a great touch. I think the terrarium turned out really well and doesn't look like at all everything came from Dollar Tree. and it was only $9 compared to the $70 terrariums at Pottery Barn. Pottery Barn had these really nice vases, but they were like hundreds of dollars. So I decided for my last DIY, I can make a DIY vase. This last DIY is probably the easiest out of all of them because all you're gonna need is a Dollar Tree vase, Dollar Tree flowers, and some spray paint. I didn't get the spray paint from Dollar Tree, but I did get it from Walmart, and it was only $5. And it could last me some more projects. I also really love the color, so let's get started. So I'm going to spray paint the vase. Make sure to be in a well-ventilated area, wearing a mask, and I put my vase on top of a cardboard box, and I just put some crumpled up pieces of paper inside my vase so paint wouldn't get in the vase, inside the vase. And then I'm just going to spray paint all around for the first coat. But I did make a mistake of spraying up really close because it made a lot of drips. So I learned that you have to spray actually far away, and it works just as well. Then I decided to do a second coat of paint because it was still a little see-through. In 30 minutes, the paint was dry, and then I went in with the second coat. After another 30 minutes, the paint was dry, and now it's time to put in the flowers. So the flowers were a little long for the vase, so I just cut it a little bit, and then it fit just right. I think the vase turned out really well, and it was only $7. I think it looks really pretty. I really love how all 3 DIYs turned out. But anyways guys, if you want to see more videos like this, please subscribe and press that like button. Hope to see you next time. Bye!